Hello everyone, welcome back to 3 News Now. Today is Friday, March 11th. I'm Stephanie Haney and I am here with your top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Thank you very much for joining me here for this show where we bring you the stories that matter most to the people here in Northeast Ohio. We know that because these are the stories that you are clicking on, that you are reading, and you are sharing. That's how we choose the stories that we talk about here on 3 News Now. So let's start first with an update from the U.S. and how it is downgrading its status with Russia, downgrading Russians' trade status here in the U.S. and also with other countries. The U.S. has revoked, among other countries as well, Russia's most favored nation trading status. So what that means is that the U.S. and allies can impose higher tariffs on some Russian imports. So that will increase the isolation of the Russian economy. And also, as the invasion of Ukraine continues, the U.S. is banning imports of Russian seafood, alcohol, and diamonds. Here's what President Joe Biden said. He said the free world is coming together to confront Putin, speaking of Russian President Vladimir Putin. He said that countries were adding new names to the list of Russian oligarchs that are facing sanctions, and the U.S. is also cutting the flow of high-end American products, luxury goods like expensive watches, cars, and clothing, banning those exports to Russia. Biden said also there would be further retaliation if Ukraine is hit with chemical weapons, which no one wants to see. That's a policy that's a possibility that administration officials have warned about in the last several days. Now, this is coming as Russia is widening its attacks in Ukraine today, striking airfields in the west and a major industrial city in the east. And the huge armored convoy that had been sort of stalled for a week outside of Kyiv is actually on the move again, spreading out into forests and towns near the capital of Ukraine. This is happening while on the ground, Russian forces seem to be trying to regroup and regain momentum. This is after they've seen heavier losses and tougher resistance from Ukrainians than they had anticipated. Nick Reynolds, who is a land warfare analyst at Royal United Services Institute, which is a British think tank, says that it's ugly already, but it's going to get worse, which is not anything that anyone wants to hear. We are now 16 days into the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and Russian President Vladimir Putin said that there had been certain positive developments. That was his phrase in talks with Ukraine, but did not give any details. But Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky sort of singing a different tune here, saying that Ukrainian forces had reached a strategic turning point, but he did not elaborate on what that meant. He did say it's impossible to say how many days that they will need to free their land, but he said, quote, "It is possible to say that we will do it." This was in a video from Ukrainian's president from Kyiv. He also said authorities are working on establishing 12 humanitarian corridors and trying to make sure that food, medicine, and other basics get to people across the country. As of right now, we don't have exact numbers, but we do know that thousands of civilians and soldiers on both sides are believed to have been killed so far in this invasion. Now let's talk about something that's very important when it comes to the dissemination of information inside Russia. Russia is widening a social media crackdown. It's blocking Instagram, and you might think to yourself, what big deal is social media at a time like this? But it is a big deal because Russia, officials there have blocked foreign media outlets. So the information that's coming into the people of Russia is very limited. The only messaging that Russian people are getting is from state-sponsored media. So Russian regulators on Friday said that they'll be blocked from accessing Instagram because they say it's being used to call for violence against Russian soldiers. This is a move to tighten up foreign social media platforms. So the communications and media regulator there in Russia said that it's restricting national access to Instagram because it's being used to spread calls to commit violent acts against Russian citizens, including military personnel. Now, on Thursday, Meta, which is the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, owned by the same company, Andy Stone, he put out a company statement saying that it had made allowances for forms of political expression that would normally violate rules of violent speech because phrases like "death to the Russian invaders" had been allowed. Now, this is following a report from Reuters that Meta was also making a temporary change to its hate speech policy to allow Facebook and Instagram users in some countries to call for violence against Russians and Russian soldiers, specifically in the context of the Ukraine invasion. Now, the statement from Meta said that the company still won't allow what they are calling credible calls for violence against Russian civilians. You can see how this is a very difficult line to walk here. Russia has already blocked access to Facebook, limited access to Twitter, and criminalized the intentional spreading of what Russian officials call fake reports, which is anything that is not in line with the Russian talking points about what is happening about the invasion in Ukraine. And this is all part of Putin's crackdown on social media and news outlets like the BBC, for example, not able to broadcast in Russia. We'll continue to bring you updates as we have them. Now, here at home, you might be wondering what you can do to help, and there are organizations that are putting donations together for the Ukrainian people. We've got a full list on WKYC.com. I'll tell you a couple of them right here. Forest City Brewery is donating $1 for every pint of its Ukrainian Red Cross. It's donating $1 for every pint of beer sold to the Ukrainian Red Cross, and also $1 for several of its other items. It's Irish Stout, pierogies, and Beer 101 event tickets. The Medina County Democratic Party is asking for donations that it will then pass on to MedWish International. You can drop that off at the party headquarters in Medina on West Homestead Street. That's by March 16th, so by next Wednesday. So a little less than a week if you'd like to get those donations there. And MedWish International is hosting their own drive-up. That'll be tomorrow, the 12th, and the 13th in Highland Hills, so Saturday and Sunday. They're partnering with MedWorks, and they'll be accepting those donations from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the University Hospital's Customer Service Center, and that is on Harvard Avenue. Now, a lot of people are focused on how this is impacting us here at home, and some people are wondering, if the U.S. doesn't get much gas from Russia, why are gas prices going up here in the U.S.? This is after the U.S. has banned Russian oil imports, but again, we're hearing that the U.S. doesn't get much oil from Russia. Well, only a fraction of it does come from Russian oil, but our researchers have taken a look at this, and they are breaking down the fact that the price of oil is set at the global level. So any impact on imports from Russia to other places is going to have an impact here in the United States as well. Any supply disruption or potential disruption will affect gas prices all over the world. So it might be hard to believe, but the U.S. and Russia are in the top 3 oil producers in the world. So when Russia is impacted, yes, that does impact the gas prices around the world, and that includes here in the U.S. So, it is definitely something to talk about. It's a big factor for some families. I have friends in Los Angeles who are posting photos of gas prices almost at $7. We're seeing them over $4 here. They're expected to go higher. There are some ways that you can save some money when it comes to gas, because it's a big budget concern for a lot of people who can't use public transportation, who can't walk, who can't ride a bike, and do need to get around in a vehicle. If you're not living in an incredibly metropolitan area, this could be you. Now, we do know some of the basics. Grocery rewards programs that are tied to discounts at the gas pump, for example. Also, gas station loyalty programs. People are combining trips. You're making the run to the grocery store and maybe some other errands at the same time and swinging by to get gas on the way, planning your route effectively. But not all of those things will have necessarily a major impact. So there are some things that you can do. We have them listed on WKYC.com. Here's an example of something that you can do. It will require a little bit of work. You can earn free gas cards online. There's a couple of different ways that you can do this. One company that does this is a company called Swag Bucks. So, for example, you get $5 just for signing up, and then you have a reward per survey ratio. So you're filling out surveys here. You can be over 18 to do it. You earn a couple dollars per survey. And you can earn up to a couple dollars per survey. Some of them pay less than $1, and then you can get free gift cards through PayPal for the use of filling out these surveys. Another company that does the same thing is Survey Junkie, and they pay out in cash, but you can take that cash after you've completed those surveys and then use that to pay your gas. So just a couple of examples of ways you can get creative there if you are having a hard time filling up at the gas pump. I know it's impacting a lot of us here in Northeast Ohio. Something else a lot of us are seeing here in Northeast Ohio is that spam text of a selfie of a woman, and it's saying something like, "I can't believe you didn't meet up with me," or something like that. And this is actually a spam text that our Verify team says has been going around since 2020. So it was previously said that this was sort of a sex trafficking scam. Other people are now saying online that if you respond to the text message, they can track you. Well, our Verify team says, no, that's not true. You can't be tracked just because someone sends you an unsolicited text message. But here's the deal. If it does pop up in your phone, don't respond. There's no reason to respond, especially if there's a link involved. The best thing to do is to block that phone number and delete the text and act like it never happened, and then you never have to see it again, okay? So if you don't know how to do that, get help from someone in your life who does, because it's relatively simple to delete that text message from your feed, to go into your settings and block that phone number and make sure that phone number isn't able to contact you again, okay? Because if you click on the link, if there is a link involved, that's when you might be at risk of passing on some personal information. And if you do correspond with the person, you might reveal personal information without even realizing it. So law enforcement are underscoring, if you get a text like that, don't respond and never give out any personal information. Okay, let's turn to some happy news today. The Cleveland Guardians are starting to arrive in Arizona for spring training just hours after the end of the Major League Baseball lockout. Preparations started getting underway to get the 2022 season underway, and the Guardians' official Twitter account posted a series of pictures of players arriving at the team facility in Goodyear, Arizona on Friday. There was all-star third baseman Jose Ramirez, and then the trio of starting pitchers, Shane Bieber, Zach Plesac, and Tristan McKenzie. Very excited to get things underway. Thursday night's agreement between Major League Baseball owners and the players on a new collective bargaining agreement ends the 99-day lockout. It delayed opening day until April 7th. The home opener will be here in Cleveland on April 15th, which is also baseball's Jackie Robinson Day. That's going to be a great day here in Cleveland. It's also a Friday. How about that? All right, now let's talk about women's college basketball, because the Baldwin-Wallace women's tournament is dancing its way through the Division III women's basketball tournament. They will face Wisconsin-Oshkosh in the Sweet 16 today. This is a comeback story after COVID-19 really impacted them 2 years ago. So let's take it back to March of 2020. The Baldwin-Wallace Yellow Jackets were 28-2 in the Ohio Athletic Conference regular season and tournament champions. They got to the Sweet 16, but they never got the chance to make history because it got shut down by COVID-19. There were 5 seniors on that team that didn't get to finish their careers on their own terms. That women's tournament was canceled, and that was supposed to be here in Cleveland, by the way, so canceled. And then in 2021, they had to play a shortened season with no NCAA tournament, and there were games canceled this year, playing in front of a limited number of fans. So right now, at this point, they are ranked 10th in the nation. They are 23-4 overall. They share the OAC title and winning the conference tournament as well. And today and Saturday they play Wisconsin, and a win on Friday night and again on Saturday would land them a spot in the Final Four. So if they win tonight, then they'll play them again on Saturday, and then they'll play on Saturday, and then they will be in the Final Four. So fingers crossed for Baldwin-Wallace. We are hoping that they make it all the way in that Division III women's NCAA tournament. Now, if you're downtown and you take a look at Cleveland Terminal Tower and you're wondering why it's lit up red, it is for Disney and Pixar's new movie, Turning Red. And this is a coming-of-age movie. It's about a young Asian girl, a 13-year-old Asian girl, and she has a unique problem. You know, she's dealing with a lot of changes, as people do at the age of 13, and when she gets excited, she turns into a big, giant red panda. So that movie is out. That is streaming on Disney+, and it features the voices of Rosalie Chang, Sandra Oh, Ava Morse, and Hyan Park, and that's why Cleveland Terminal Tower is red. So now you know. Something else going on this weekend. The Cleveland Winter Beer Fest is back at Huntington Convention Center. That's a 2-day event. It's Friday and Saturday from 8 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. There is all different kinds of types of tickets that you can get. It is 21 and over, but if you make your way downtown, you can check that out. And if you do order one of those special tickets, you can actually get in an hour early. But for most people, it starts at 8 p.m. There will be 150 different beers at this event for sampling this weekend. You get one of those with one of the tickets. You get one of those fancy little sifters, so you can enjoy your samples in that. The 2022 beer list is on WKYC.com, of course, subject to availability because things do change. And there are special tickets for DDs as well, so those designated drivers can get in at a bit of a discount. But do remember, even if you are the designated driver, you still have to be 21 and over. Something else this weekend. The Voice winners, Girl Named Tom, are in town for their tour. They are performing in Springfield, Ohio on Saturday, and I got a chance to have an exclusive conversation with them this week on my 3 Things to Know podcast. We talked all about what it's been like being back here in Ohio after they are now the subject of national fame, after making history and being the first group to win The Voice. Before them, it's always been an individual, but they are the first group to win The Voice. Major congratulations to these Ohio natives. And I just have to tell you, Josh, Caleb, and Becky, Those are their names. Those are the major players, the trio of siblings that make up Girl Named Tom. They are just absolutely wonderful. They took time out of their vacation to talk to me. I didn't realize they were on vacation when we set up our interview. So super, super awesome people, incredibly talented, and they are performing Saturday in Springfield, Ohio, and they won't be back for a while, you guys. They'll be back in the northern Ohio area in the summer, and then they'll be in Toledo in August. All of that info is in the podcast, so make sure you check that out, wkyc.com/3thingsto know. And we will end things today with a shout out from It's All Good News. That's our good news show. I host that, and it drops every Thursday at 1 p.m. on the WKYC YouTube page. And I have to send a special shout out to my brand new Pisces partner in crime. His name is John Purcella. This man is incredible. He is a real treat, and he turned 100 years old on Wednesday. And you wouldn't know it to look at him. You wouldn't know it to talk to him. He is a ball of energy. He is a wealth of experience and knowledge and joy. He's an accomplished author. He's published 4 books. He's working on his 5th book already. Stories for days. You have to check that out. You can find that on WKYC.com and the WKYC YouTube page. So happy birthday to John Purcella. If you check out that video, make sure you watch all the way to the end, because he has a special message for all of us, direct from the birthday boy himself. All right, that's it for your 3 News Now update today for Friday, March 11th. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. We're getting a little bit of snow right now, so be careful out there. I am personally hoping that the snow sticks around to Sunday so I can get out on the slopes one more time, and then I'm done with it. Then I'm ready for spring. Just one more time, you guys. Be careful out there, and I will see you back here on Monday with more 3 News Now.